So now it's my privilege to introduce this big guy. If I look at his credentials, I was amazed that he's the most credential guy today, I think, in the event. If I look at his credentials, he co-founded many businesses as a CTO. Look at the names: Jira, Yerio, Wild, Hibiscus, Rapido, Support Desk. And he is Senior Global Software Support Manager at Adobe. One guy does this many things. So he's a true Magento man for us. And he's working in the computer line since 1993, when I was in school. And he has huge lot of experience, trained more than 1,000 Magento developers in early times, now who has become big shots in the industry. And currently he's working in Adobe and looking at support and automation. It's my privilege to call Ray.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining me and others today at this really great event. Really grateful to be here, first time in the region. And I would say definitely for all the sponsors making this happen, and thanks to you participating after a while. Thank you very much for attending, because I think that's really important also from a community standpoint that we share our knowledge. And that's why one of the things that I want to keep available is a story on support or not to support. Well, that's the question. I know there's a reference on a really important play everybody knows. So what's the story on support? I think already all has been shared and said on who I am. I'm really happy to be a part of this community. I mean, since the beta version in 2008, met so many great people around the globe, thanks to all these events. And hopefully we can share more stories with you, maybe with some drinks later on at the party. So please let me know. Although I'm pretty tall, I'm reachable. So please hit me up. Maybe with a beer, not too much because I need to work tomorrow, so otherwise I get in trouble. I know some people there. So just please let me know whatever I can do, because at the end it's about conversational support, supporting each other in whatever way possible. So with that, I know we already had a quiz, but I want to keep a quiz because there were no packages involved with that one. So I would like to tease you and paying attention to this talk. So my question would be, what's the total number of ticket avoidance that we as support have established over the last couple of months, well, quarters in particular? If you go over to my Twitter, I just posted and pinned a tweet. You can copy paste that, and the axis, now it's called numbers, you need to pay attention to some slides I'm going to share. If you share the correct number, I got a really special treat for you. I brought some really delicious stroopwafels. Maybe you heard about them. They're pretty delicate for those, and they're cans. So it's also a gift box. Actually, my team, that's the level 2 team, if something applies to the code, they will reach out to the L2 team and they will start creating those patches. Actually, not sure if you have any interest, follow me on Twitter or for that matter LinkedIn. I was really happy this morning when I woke up that I saw my list of the team. They created a new patch release on the quality patches. I got also a really small one on that. So on a regular basis, 3-4 weeks, we release a really big bunch of patches available for everybody. Some patches may apply to your case, some may not. But you really can have the best patches available and making sure that, well, Magento for this matter, so Magento open source, but also Adobe Commerce stays on top on the best quality possible. For whatever reason, it needs to be going back into our core product. We have our level 3 team, so that's sustainability, making sure that it's reachable for everybody. And of course, everything needs to be qualified, so knowledge-based, news articles, video, etc., etc. That needs to be in place, making sure that we deliver the best content possible. So if there will be an issue that applies to multiple merchants out there that we can fix with an article while submitting that ticket, well, it needs to be up there. So we have multiple people not only fixing and triaging issues, but also making sure that future reference on those particular topics are in place. And we just want to make sure that it's there now, but also for going in the future. So if you have any comments, that apply to that, also please let us know, because that really helps us to be, well, as stable as possible. And last but not least, the tool and automation. And that's something I'm really proud about when joining this team. And I will have some really cool features that are never been shown before. So you get a really interesting peek into what's happening from an automation standpoint to optimize our merchant in the best way possible. So with that, let me show a little diagram from a technical note. Maybe some of you know, maybe some of you haven't seen this, but this is a technical diagram on the infrastructure that we are using. Actually, this is the one from Azure, Microsoft. Actually, if you look at it, I'm not sure if everybody can see this in the back, so this is the diagram for Azure. And if I'm pressing the button, so any pictures apply, please do now. And I'm switching over to AWS. You probably don't see a big difference. And that's why I wanted to share this slide. Actually, under the hood, the technology may be different by a brand, but the baseline actually is the same. That's why we want to have a continuous supported product, which is usable for every merchant. Some merchants, they will live and breathe with Microsoft, and some do with AWS. But at the end, it shouldn't matter from a support perspective what we support in the best way possible. Actually, and this is kind of interesting, if we look at it, our stack has been emerging and more qualifying over the years. We've seen merchants definitely with Adobe now using AEM, our content platform. Combining that, currently AEM is mainly focused, of course, within AWS. There's no Azure equivalent to that. But looking at the components and going back, for instance, to Vigorant's talk on composable or modular commerce for this particular component, an interesting one, maybe to address his point on where we were back in the day. We have content, we have commerce. Since I was a part of the Magento community early on, I was one of the first Canadian Joomla. I'm not sure if you ever heard of a CMS system called Joomla. Well, actually, we created, and that's why it was already chaired, Girio, been a part of the community as well. That was one of my first products where we created a Joomla in connection back to Magento. So actually 2009, we created that integration based on REST APIs. You can imagine so many things happened over the years. I wouldn't say it was a perfect solution, but I guess we managed to get as much knowledge as possible, creating much resilient software now going into the future. If we look at it a little bit deeper, and this is kind of interesting, the only thing that really matters is the API layer, connecting those together. So GraphQL, for this matter, connects AEM and, for this matter, Adobe Commerce, or Magento, for that matter, together. So any headless combination is possible, and we are supporting that. But a preview on some really interesting, cool things that we are working on right now. We have seen customers that benefit not only from the basic stack that we have, and for instance, Vikrant, he mentioned a success story that I personally worked on, was called Alshaya. Alshaya is one of the first that we start leveraging on AWS native services. They have gone, well, they increased growth. Well, you've seen the numbers, not a secret anymore. So we wanted to make sure that they're sustainable, but also in a serverless way, making sure that we're using the best services available possible. So right now, we have them currently supporting on AWS and other services. You can imagine database scalability, that's most important. So if there's any needs and you have any more questions on that, please let me know. Process. I'm not going to go over every single bullet, but I just wanted to give you a high-level sense on things that we've seen, but also feedback from you guys. Because if there's anything that we can optimize from a process standpoint, please let us know. Because nothing's perfect. I mean, at the end, we are human beings, making sure that we deliver the best solution possible. So this is a high-level diagram when a ticket gets in. And zooming a little bit further, well, you probably get a sense from a Zendesk ticket on who's going to own what and what needs to be done. So I guess every company has a similar process in place. This is definitely not, I would say, set in stone. So if you would have a support ticket, please let me know if there's anything we can do together, making sure that the process is aligned. Narrowing down looks a little bit, I would say, more in detail, but at the end, it's just a process. Going back on strategy, and I think that's one of the things that we've learned over the years that needs to be as efficient as possible. At the end, just submitting a support ticket, it's just a start. But we want to make sure that our merchants as well have the ability to do a lot of stuff themselves. It's not just, it's not working, send it over. We want to make sure that we have multiple components in place. So let me pull them up. Self-help, self-service, and the thing that I probably like the most is self-healing. And that's something that's really hard, because you can imagine not everything is fixable, through self-healing. So we are learning as we go along on what can be done beforehand, and what helps us making sure that going into the future, that self-healing component from a strategy perspective through observability makes sense, fixing those issues as early on as possible. And I got a really cool demonstration on that later on, what we built on that component. So really interested. I already mentioned a little bit on what we've accomplished this morning, which I'm pretty proud about. So if you ever looking for a patch, don't think about me, think about the guys and the girls in the team creating those patches and delivering them to the patch quality tool. And again, if there's anything from a community perspective that you think could be different, please let us know. Because again, it's us together making sure we deliver the best patch or solution possible. If that's something on performance, if that's something on code, if that's something on security, we just want to be here delivering the best software possible for you. But again, it's all for the merchant that we have in place. So let's get into some really cool automation stuff I think we all have been waiting for. Who has heard about SWOT? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. 50% of the room. So let me share a little detail on what SWOT actually does for those who haven't heard about that. This started maybe 3 years ago, but it has gone through a major involvement. And again, since this is a service as we go, software as a service, optimizations are being made daily, weekly. And that's some of the things that Vikram mentioned as more before. At Adobe, we started changing in a more sensible way, where not releases, as I just mentioned, are happening once a month. Some solutions can have multiple optimizations, maybe on a day, on a weekly basis. So please watch this closely, because this could be a really game changer for your merchants or your business moving into that. Hope the audio works. We just figured out that there was a plug missing, so hopefully you can hear this. Watch with me.
Often, Adobe Commerce receives requests from a customer asking for site best practice, suggestions for configuration, ideas for performance improvement, how to increase site speed, what the logs mean, and more. For each of these requests, a support ticket is created. However, frequently the customer attempts different configurations, implements custom modules, pushes a deployment, or makes other business and functional changes. All of these actions affect the site's health, and this requires the customer to create extra support tickets to verify the site's health and stability, explain what's wrong, or just request a fix. Hey, wouldn't it be great if there was a more efficient way to check Adobe Commerce site health and get all the recommendations all at once? Well, yes, there is. It's called a site-wide analysis tool, and it's totally free, by the way. It's a tool developed to perform an end-to-end analysis of a customer's site and generate a report with the results. A site-wide analysis tool generates a PDF created exclusively for the Adobe Commerce Cloud customer, containing the site end-to-end findings, consisting of the issues found and the associated follow-up recommendations. Included in the site-wide analysis tool report's findings are the site's health, performance, and configuration at a specific point in time. The customer then reviews the delivered report, is responsible for understanding the findings, and executing the prescribed recommendations. However, if a specific finding requires Adobe support help, the customer simply opens a new support ticket, one for each specific issue in question, and of course references the original delivered report support ticket.
Pretty cool, huh? There's more to it. As already mentioned, more versions are coming by day to day, month to month. So let me give a peek on actually what's happening behind the scenes. And it's not only for Adobe Commerce anymore. It will evolve through multiple Adobe systems. So within the future, our whole Adobe Digital Experience platform will have multiple reach throughout all those analysis on the background. So what have been working on? There we go. There are some short-term, mid-term, and long-term perspective. I'm not going to go into every single detail because then we probably could spend more than a half hour just on some of the topics. But what's really important is that we wanted to make sure that all our software combinations are connected together and being shared as efficient as possible within the dashboard. So not only from a merchant perspective, the data is visible, but also for the developer. You know, if they're working on an upgrade, they are missing a news article, they need to have a chat, for instance, with our support team. You can imagine just submitting a ticket, it's pretty old-fashioned. You want to have interaction because once you are having this connection, you want to make sure that support is there when you need it. So within SWOT, we wanted to make sure there's more to it now, but also go into the future. So with those, this is a new dashboard. This is a mock-up. You probably haven't seen. On the top, you can see we have multiple tabs already. Initially, it was submitting a ticket through email. Now we want to make sure that within one dashboard, it reaches multiple functionality, creating a ticket, but also how to get started. We've seen new merchants getting started, but also getting struggled on what kind of best practices do I need to make sure this project is in the best shape possible. But also the news articles that make sense. Everything that has been shared that's related to this particular use case, using AI, machine learning, that's going to be shared in those dashboards. So actually, I mean, the initial video mentioned it's a PDF. Well, we are going fully on dynamic dashboards, which means that every day, yes, every day, somebody within your team should be watching the dashboard. If the system health, since we are monitoring everything on the background, be looking at that. You know, if things change, if we came along, let's say a performance or security, and we alert this, it's going to be shared. True, alerting will be in place, sending this to whom this concerns, but at the end, we're going to respond more efficiently back to you, not only the partners, but also the merchant, on what the actual health will be. So it's not static anymore. So with that, just a small insight on some of those, and I like this one. We've seen too many cases on upgrades. What's going on? What do we need to do? Is this for me? Do I need to do this now? True, I know there are some investments that need to be made on upgrading, but I said assure that if something's upgraded and also the platform, stability, performance, it creates less tickets. And I may be here preaching to the choir. I guess, you know, lesser tickets we have, the better we can focus on creating new things. Because at the end, tickets, it's technical debt, it's overhead, and nobody is really, you know, waiting on that. So what we can do as Adobe, with probably the help of you, we'll get a better product out there. Did I mention already that we wanted to make sure that once you have a new project in place, that before this project launches, all best practices have been applied? Well, now with the dashboard, we are analyzing this particular setup from the start. Once we analyze what really is missing, and maybe we're having discussions internally, should we maybe create, you know, it's like hit this button and all best practices are being deployed automatically? Could be. Of course, we are not deploying that ourselves. You know, a partner should do that, for instance. But you can imagine that will save a lot of time. So it's all about time. The more efficient we can be as Adobe, the better we can support you. With the new reporting, we are getting alerts on what kind of, well, P1s, P2s, priorities need to be fixed. We just had a discussion last week on, well, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the holiday season components are just around the corner. If we have merchants fixing that, it reduces the capacity issue on CPU, on memory, whatever we have, that will have a better user engagement for this particular merchant. We just want to make sure, I mean, we are happy to push more hardware or virtual hardware for that matter, but if a particular website is running more efficiently, that can serve more customers. I mean, you probably have all seen all those studies from Google and Walmart on what 1% of performance can gain on a conversion rate. So please be aware, we are just want to help on getting the data ready. So let me show a little demo on some additional stuff that we have within the system.
Welcome. The site-wide analysis tool is a central repository that provides a single pane of glass view of our support tools. It will allow you to get real-time access to all system insights, proactive steps to resolve any site problems, and monitor overall site health. To get access to the SWOT dashboard, go to your Magento admin panel page. Accept the terms and conditions. On the dashboard, you will find access to support tools such as the Upgrade Compatibility Tool, Security Scan Tool, Best Practice Recommendations, and Managed Alerts. Recommendations. With 24/7 site monitoring, the tool can scan the site for performance, stability, and security issues. The Upgrade Compatibility Tool checks an Adobe Commerce instance against the latest version of Commerce. It returns a list of critical issues that must be addressed before upgrading to the latest version of Adobe Commerce. The Security Scan tool provides Adobe Commerce customers with real-time insights into the security status of their store by proactively detecting malware and notifying them if their store is compromised. You can also access other support resources from this widget, such as the Information and Extension tabs. The Quality Patches tool lists all the currently available patches. This feature makes it easier to locate the right patches to fix known issues. Originally, the site-wide analysis tool was only available for cloud customers, but we are excited to announce that we have expanded its availability to all Adobe Commerce customers hosted on-prem as well. Our goal is to help you create better commerce experiences for your customers, and we believe that with the help of the site-wide analysis tool and all the other support tools that we offer, you will be able to give your customers the best experience possible.
Let's get a little deeper. I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but on automation, we want to make sure through observability that whatever comes to mind on a particular issue that we've got is that we start creating automatic tickets on that. Now it's pretty reactive, but we want to be proactive. Having that proactiveness based on the alert, we create a ticket, assign engineers specifically to their skills automatically. So everything behind the scenes gets created and alerted back to this merchant, making sure that any service level agreement that we have internally or back to the merchant has been addressed in a sensible way in getting the resolutions fixed as soon as possible. But there's definitely more to come. We started creating an automation framework. So this is a diagram which has been created internally, where we create internal APIs. But the cool thing is that we are using open software internally. I'm really excited. I mean, I'm an open source person. I mean, coming from the old Magento days, we started using an open source software framework which is called Stackstorm. Let me show a little bit on Stackstorm and what it actually does, and maybe it could be even a benefit component for you within your company as well.
Stackstorm is an event-driven automation platform used in a variety of scenarios, including auto remediation, security event handling, and infrastructure automation. For example, if you had a security appliance at the edge of your infrastructure inspecting packets for anomalies, it could alert Sensu of potential bad actors. A Stackstorm workflow can take action on this information and provision the security appliance to ignore future packets from that sender. To abstract a wide variety of tasks, including the one we just looked at, Stackstorm employs a few key primitives. Those primitives are sensors, rules, and actions. A sensor looks at events either directly from an event producer, such as the security appliance we saw earlier, or through existing monitoring tools like Nagios or Sensu. An action is an operation StackStorm can take within your environment. It can be a simple atomic task, like submitting a REST request to an API, or a more complex workflow consisting of multiple actions and decision tree logic. Rules tie these sensors and tasks together. You configure rules in an if-this, then-that type of logic. For instance, in our security appliance example, our rule would be configured so that if Sensu receives a bad actor notice, StackStorm should run a workflow to add that bad actor to a blocked list. You might be thinking, this is great, but do I have to build all of these integrations? The simple answer is no. StackStorm has a community of contributors that have helped grow the StackStorm Exchange to over 100 different integrations. You can find these integrations at exchange.stackstorm.org.
Pretty cool, huh? Open source, community. This is the way we want to move forward, also within community engineering. Having and using components that make sense, supporting our merchant in the best way possible. This is a small list. This list is endless on plugins, features that we start debating about internally. In case you would have a suggestions like, can we monitor this? Please let me know. Maybe we haven't thought about it, and I'm happy to submit this to our backlog internally, because this is the way, together, we can optimize automation to the best possible way. Remember that I had a question in the beginning, a quiz, so please pay attention for those who are with us. So, I was talking about the benefits on automation. And with that, we started inventing and seeing how much ticket avoidance, but also FTEs, could be saved by using efficiency. You can imagine if you would have hundreds, thousands of people working on tickets, it will not be enough supporting as much merchants that we have at some point. So automation, it's key. And making sure from that level on, we want it to be proficient. So this is just Q1. This is Q2 and the results that we have seen and gained from that. So please watch closely and make a count, because this is going to be Q3. Again, these are the latest numbers. We don't have all the numbers yet. But if you do the math on Q1, Q2, and Q3, well, then my question is, so hopefully I will go back and you can take pictures, if that makes sense. So this was Q3. Yeah, are we riding along, taking pictures? This was Q2. And this was Q1. I see making pictures. Okay, I do it again. So this is Q1. Okay, follow with me. Q2. Yeah, we got it. Cool. This is Q3. Yeah, everybody's at their phone. And now, the final one. So, if you're interested in cookies, let me do that again. If you're interested in cookie, go over to my Twitter account, copy paste the hashtag that I created, and put the number in there that you just calculated. That's the... I'm sorry? Yeah, can we put a range? Well, if you would like to have a range, please do so. So, I have a couple of cookies with me. If you're interested, I know it may be a joke, but it's just my appreciation being here and hopefully getting to know you much better. But at the end, this number is the ticket avoidance that our team in general, and that's something to be proud about. So I just want to thank everybody within the team and custom engineering that made this possible, because with them, we wouldn't be here helping our merchant in the best way possible. So, some key takeaways: customer first, on top, always. Team. If you don't have a team, you cannot build this and have customer first focus. And with that, automation. Automation, 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 automation. And those will share those numbers. So, in case you would be joining my team, just a spoiler, let me know. Always there. And I'm now available for QA. If we still have some QA time? No, we don't. Okay. So with that, please let me know. I'm going to be around here. I got, well, the red shirt. Probably cannot miss that. Hit me up. I'm available. Thank you, guys.
Or the better way to catch him is red shoes.
Yeah. Well, I got a red watch as well.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, much appreciated. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thanks.